Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. Moryu who led his three brothers to the front gate of Luo Feng's cave dwelling. The Primal Chaos Armor Sector's cave mansion. The eyes of the three brothers from the Moryu family were fervid. This area was legendary throughout Huyang City, neighboring the Primal Chaos ruins. Those residing here were among the most terrifying beings in Huyang City, and in the past, the three brothers would not have dared to come near. Father is indeed remarkable, to have secured such an opportunity for us. This is the greatest opportunity of my life. I must seize it even if it means risking my life. The eldest of the Moryu brothers was the most burly, with eyes sharp as knives. Both my eldest brother and youngest brother have higher talent than me. With Supreme Lord Luo he choosing one among the three of us, my hopes are the slimmest, thought the second Moryu brother, yet he hadn't given up. I must strive with all my might. The eldest brother has the greatest talent, mused the youngest Moryu brother. It's hard to know how the eternal true God will select his disciple. As the three brothers harbored their own thoughts, Moryu who had already stepped forward and lightly tapped on the door, sending an invisible ripple spreading. Soon, the honest-looking Morosa opened the door and glanced at them. Come in. Yes, Moryu who responded with a very humble attitude, leading the three children into the cave mansion. As the three brothers entered such a vast and expansive cave mansion, they felt nervous. The chaos aura here was incredibly rich, almost to the point where primal chaos stones could condense from it. Inside the pavilion, we pay our respects to the Supreme, respectfully saluted Moryu who, while the three brothers knelt down immediately. Rise, said Luo Feng, holding a book that contained the information on the three Moryu brothers. Among you three brothers, the eldest is at the 9th realm of True God, and the other two are at the 6th realm of True God. Luo Feng spoke, however, in my eyes, the realm of True God has no significance. The hearts of the three brothers trembled. I will choose one of you to be my servant, Luo Feng declared. The time of servitude will be very, very long. Only by passing my trials may you become my disciple. We understand. The eldest Moryu Lai Feng, the second Moryu Qingyang, and the youngest Moryu Liuxing all responded with utmost respect. I'll make the conditions clear beforehand. Those who are unwilling to be servants can speak up now, but once you become my servant, there will be no chance for regrets, stated Luo Feng. The three brothers listened attentively. Luo Feng said leisurely, being my servant is dangerous. There will be a number of eternal true gods who want to kill me in the future, and you may get involved. I can't guarantee I'll always be able to protect you. So as my servant, you must be prepared for death. The eldest brother, Moryu Lai Feng, said, since we follow the Supreme, we naturally bear our own fortunes and misfortunes. We do not fear death, we only fear not having the chance, added the second brother, Moryu Qingyang. The youngest brother, Moryu Liuxing, hesitated before inquiring, may I ask the Supreme, will the Supreme's eternal true God enemies be numerous? Numerous, and they will be unscrupulous, Luo Feng replied with a smile. In his assassination missions, Luo Feng was most eager to deal with the covert leader of Shi Kingdom, Bloodlight, known for his violent and brutal methods, and his identity piqued Luo Feng's interest in hunting. The only problem was that he did not know Bloodlight's whereabouts. After all, even with the 5 great families of the city owner's mansion putting forth all their efforts against Shi Kingdom's infiltrating powers, wanting to kill Bloodlight, he remained cautious and well hidden, making it difficult for Luo Feng to find an opportunity. Having decided to take on some assassination missions, Luo Feng knew that enemies in the future would not be few. Of course, he and Morosa, one in the light and one in the dark, would do their best to ensure the safety of their servants. S tilde ea the novlia.ne website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Father, I give up, said Moyu Liuxing. Moyu who looked at his youngest son, but wasn't surprised. His youngest son was born latest when he and his wife were in better circumstances, leading to a more comfortable upbringing for the child. I'd rather cultivate in peace, said Moyu Liuxing, who disliked a life filled with danger. All right, one has given up, Luo Feng nodded. After becoming my servant, I will not offer him cultivation guidance or resources. The eldest Moyu Lifeng and second Moyu Qingyang were both startled. He will need to comprehend the laws on his own, Luo Feng continued. After grasping the 10 fundamental laws, he may pass the first trial. Only after enduring many trials can he qualify to become my disciple. To glean the 10 fundamental laws without any guidance. The surprise was palpable for the eldest and second Moyu brothers. Creatures born in the land of origin could almost always become true gods, precisely because they relied on the bloodline cultivation method. If one chose the path of laws, the proportion of creatures reaching true god status would diminish drastically. Grasping the 10 fundamental laws is exceedingly difficult. Since birth, we have followed the bloodline cultivation method. Even if we exhaust our lives, it would be extremely difficult to perceive the 10 fundamental laws, Moyu Lifeng said, and if we're unable to perceive them. If you're unable to perceive them, naturally you cannot become my disciple, Luo Feng stated. Even having perceived them, there are still other trials to pass. Moyu Lifeng was reluctant, but still declared, I give up. Moyu who watched his eldest son, who could endure hardships and was very determined. However, the challenge of perceiving the 10 fundamental laws made him choose to give up voluntarily. And you? Luo Feng turned his gaze to the remaining Moyu brother, the second Moyu Qingyang, will you give up? I am willing to follow the Supreme, Moyu Qingyang answered without hesitation. Luo Feng nodded in satisfaction, and then said to Moyu Qingyang it is, then. From now on, he is my servant. Thank you, Supreme, Moyu who had observed his children's choices from the beginning. Aware of his son's temperaments, he was not surprised by their decisions. Luo Feng nodded, from now on, Moyu Qingyang will live here. Then we shall take our leave, Moyu who respectfully bid farewell, leading the other 2 children away, leaving only the second son, Moyu Qingyang, behind with Luo Feng. As I said, I will not guide you and will not provide you with cultivation resources, Luo Feng addressed Moyu Qingyang. You must diligently comprehend the 10 fundamental laws. As for the minor matters within the cave dwelling, follow Luo Sa's arrangements. Yes, Supreme, Moyu Qingyang said respectfully. Kid, you need to call the master just like me, Morosa said. Yes, master, Moyu Qingyang obediently replied. Luo Sa, help me teach him well, Luo Feng waved his hand dismissively. He wouldn't give any advice or resources, but he didn't forbid Morosa from giving some guidance. Kid, come with me. Morosa stretched out his hand and grabbed Moyu Qingyang by the neck, happily walking out. From now on, he could order Moyu Qingyang to serve him and the master. Luo Feng watched the scene with a smile. The biggest flaw in the bloodline cultivation system was its shaky foundation. It relied solely on the power of the bloodline to progress, until eventually hitting an insurmountable bottleneck. Both the Du and Dong River lineage and God King Jin's lineage noted in their heritage that the top families in the land of origin insisted that their members at least master the 10 fundamental laws. Understanding these basic laws made it much easier to comprehend the bloodline cultivation method. The path of bloodline cultivation would then be much more promising. As my disciple, even if you can't follow the law lineage, at the very least, your journey in bloodline cultivation should take you far, Luo Feng thought. In the land of origin, the environment for perceiving the laws is much better than in the primordial cosmos. And Morosa might give some tips occasionally. If he can't master the 10 fundamental laws even under these conditions, then he truly is worthless and doesn't deserve to be my disciple. Mo Yu-hu and the 2 children returned to their dwelling. The path you choose is your own, just don't regret it, Mo Yu-hu spoke only after arriving home. Father, I am not afraid of death, but I fear having no chance to rise, the eldest, Mo Yu-lai-fong, said solemnly. I am already at the 9th realm of true God. With more effort, I might reach the state of the true God of void space. And concerning the so-called 10 fundamental laws, I've tried to comprehend them before, and fear that I may not grasp them in my lifetime. The 3rd child, Mo Yu-liuxing, smiled, Father, I willingly chose my own path. Good, no complaints then, Mo Yu-hu nodded and didn't say much. Their paths were theirs to forge. And he also felt that the path of his 2nd son, Mo Yu-qingyang, would not be an easy one. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Night fell. Inside the large cave mansion of the Jiarong clan. Chi went to the Moli clan again. She's quite close to Moli Feiyun, the old man with the fuzzy tail thought. She spends more time with Moli Feiyun than with me, her father. He was actually quite pleased. After all, the Moli clan was one of the 5 great families. Suddenly, a blood-red aura instantly burst into the large cave dwelling. The formations that were constantly operating within the mansion were torn apart in the blink of an eye. Who is it? The old man, Jiarong Yang, with red eyebrows, changed his complexion drastically, and a terrifying fluctuation burst out from the center of his being, the dazzling red light spreading directly towards that blood-red aura. The cosmos is formed in a thought. My dwelling is enveloped and completely isolated from the outside world. Jiarong Yang knew something was wrong and immediately manifested his massive true body. A creature with fuzzy tail and erect red fur. What's happening? What's going on? The members of the Jiarong clan inside the mansion, seeing Jiarong Yang's towering true body, were somewhat panicked. I didn't expect you, a mere alchemist, to have some tricks up your sleeve. A cold voice resonated within Jiarong Yang's consciousness. Unfortunately, before me, they are worth nothing. Boom, boom, boom tilde tilde tilde. Jiarong Yang said urgently, please stop, we can talk this over. A gigantic blood-colored hand appeared out of nowhere, and in the moment it appeared, it grasped Jiarong Yang's true body, causing it to disintegrate immediately. What followed was an endless sweep of blood light across the entire mansion, eradicating all creatures within it, whether they were from the Jiarong clan, or were servants and guards. At the city owner's mansion in Huyang City, inside a hall. The cave dwelling of the Jiarong clan has suddenly been enveloped by a small cosmic domain, and a massive burst of divine power has been detected in that area. A group of officials responsible for monitoring the entire city noticed the disturbance at the location of the Jiarong clan's dwelling. Quickly report to the city lord. Inside the cave mansion of the Moli clan, Jiarong Qi and Moli Feiyun, the 2 women, were sipping wine and chatting leisurely. I like my senior brother, but he doesn't care about me. Moli Feiyun was slightly tipsy from drinking. I want to become a disciple, to take Commander Moli Xiao as my master, but Commander Moli Xiao doesn't think much of me. I want to take Lord Luo He as my master, but Lord Luo He looks down on me as well, Jiarong Qi said in annoyance as she drank her wine. Suddenly, Jiarong Qi received a message on her transmission token. Qi, my killer, is the Blood Python Association leader Mu Yang. You must remember this. A message of final words came through. A small cosmic domain isolated the inside from the outside. Normal transmission tokens couldn't send information through. However, Jiarong Yang used an expensive karmic messenger order, managing to send out a message before death. Father. Jiarong Qi jerked awake, completely sobered. What's wrong? Moli Feiyun asked in a daze. Jiarong Qi sat there in a daze, tears streaming down her face. Little Chi, what's wrong? Molly Fayin asked her crying friend, instantly sobered, and quickly inquired, what happened? My father is dead, Jeong Chi said blankly. While her father was alive, she was the privileged daughter of a large clan, mingling only with the descendants of great families in Huyang City. She even looked down on becoming a disciple of ordinary eternal true gods, wanting to be apprenticed to the openly strongest Commander Molly Xiao in Huyang City, or at the very least to Lord Luo He, who could suppress the dark forces. Choosing her alchemy-proficient father, an ordinary eternal true god, was not exactly what Jeong Chi had been willing to settle for. But now that her father was gone, and had left her a way out in his final message, she found it somewhat unbearable. Father. Jeong Chi knew well that her father was the one who loved her the most in this world, willing to give everything for her, a dear relative. Uncle Yang is dead. Molly Fayin couldn't believe it. How is that possible? Uncle Yang was an eternal true god, who killed him. He was indeed killed. A sigh rose. It was Molly Meng, the one currently in power of the Molly clan. As for Molly Xiao, he had no energy to manage family trivialities. Father, Molly Fayin looked at her own father. Just now, every creature in the main branch's cave mansion of the Jeong family was killed, without a single survivor, Molly Meng said. Now, only some of the branches of the Jeong family remain. The size of a cave mansion was limited, and some large clans had to be dispersed, especially the peripheral branches, which could only live in ordinary cave mansions. Ironically, the core of the Jeong family was the one eradicated this time. Father, who is the murderer? Molly Fayin asked. Jeong Chi also looked toward Molly Meng. Molly Meng said, before Jeong Yang died, he contacted many of his friends through the karmic messenger order, indicating that the murderer was association leader Mu Yang of the Blood Python. My father also sent a transmission saying that the murderer was the leader of the Blood Python, Jeong Chi said hoarsely. The entire cave mansion, including my father and tens of thousands of creatures, from eternal true gods to the young children of our clan, not a single one was spared. With the definitive evidence of my father's own transmission, the city owner's mansion should act, right? Molly Meng shook his head. The leader of the Blood Python is not an ordinary eternal true god. He controls a force of his own, and killing him is not easy. It requires discussion among the 5 great families to decide. Plus, your father's pre-death transmission does not count as definitive evidence. The murderer could have completely impersonated the leader of the Blood Python. Impersonation. Jeong Chi was anxious. Can't we trust my father's last transmission? Some secret techniques of impersonation are hard even for eternal true gods to see through, Molly Meng said. In any case, to conclusively determine the identity of the murderer and to get the city owner's mansion to act is very difficult. Jeong Chi fell silent. After your father's death, it will be difficult for you, a true god of void space, to control his many properties, the numerous alchemy cave mansions, shops, and so on, Molly Meng said, shaking his head. The Molly clan can help take them over. Father. Molly Fayin began anxiously. Rest assured, I would not stoop to take such a small advantage. These assets are valued at 20,000 cosmic sand, and will be deposited in your name in the Flame Wind Pavilion, Molly Meng said. It's not suitable for you to carry so much cosmic sand on you. Thank you, Uncle Meng, Jeong Chi gratefully said, knowing full well the price was definitely not low. Within Huyang City, those confident in killing the leader of the Blood Python can be counted on one hand, Molly Meng said. So to kill him, you need to have enough patience to wait for the right opportunity. Jeong Chi asked, can Commander Molly act? I can give up the 20,000 cosmic sand. It's not as simple as you think, Molly Meng replied as he turned to leave. Little Chi, you can stay with me, no one will threaten you, Molly Fayin said. Fayin, I just want to be alone for a while, Jeong Chi said softly. All right, I won't disturb you, Molly Fayin said as she got up to leave. Jiarong sat there alone, staring blankly at the night sky, at the countless twinkling stars. Just now, the star belonging to her father must have entirely dimmed as well. Father, at that moment, Jiarong missed her father immensely, and then her eyes turned wild. Through the transmission token, Jiarong made contact with the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall from afar. Jiarong, after your father Jiarong died, he left you 30,000 cosmic sand in the Dark Hall. And Molly Meng has also deposited 20,000 cosmic sand for you, so now you have 50,000 cosmic sand in your name, the Dark Hall responded to her. I want to offer a bounty of 40,000 cosmic sand for the head of association leader Mu Yang of the Blood Python, Jiarong transmitted back, believing in her father's judgment of the murderer's identity, as he lay dying. Understood, the bounty for the leader of the Blood Python has now been raised to 160,000 cosmic sand. You still have 10,000 cosmic sand in your name, the Dark Hall responded. After upping the bounty, Jiarong could only wait in silence, hoping a powerful individual would take the offer and kill the leader of the Blood Python. At the headquarters of the Blood Python Association. Molly Meng, why have you come? The leader of the Blood Python said with a smile as he looked at Molly Meng. Molly Meng's face was grim. Have you lost your mind? Jiarong focused on alchemy, contributing to the entirety of Huyang City, and not meddling in your dark force struggles. Why did you attack him? Acting so recklessly will only cause panic among many families in Huyang City. If the 5 great families deem you a threat to the stability of the entire city, you are finished. It wasn't me who killed him. The murderer impersonated me, the leader of the Blood Python said urgently. The leader of the Sha Kingdom's forces, Shui Yun, is very good at impersonating, and I suspect it was him pretending to be me. Before his death, Jiarong was certain the murderer was you, Molly Meng sneered. To leave such clear evidence of your identity in such a criminal act shows just how incapable you really are. It really wasn't me, the leader of the Blood Python said. Inside Huyang City, everyone must abide by the rules. Molly Meng gave him a look then turned to leave. If you don't follow the rules, the consequences might be more than you can handle. With that, Molly Meng had already disappeared. Association leader Mu Yang of the Blood Python watched Molly Meng leave, his expression eventually settling into calm. What does it matter if I don't play by the rules? HMPH, in this world, strength is ultimately what is respected most, Blood Python leader Mu Yang sneered. If I kill one, what can the many families within Huyang City do? If they dare to move against me, they'd better be prepared to die. It's just a pity that Jiarong was such trash. Killing him and even plundering his entire cave mansion, I only managed to get a total of 220,000 cosmic sand, Blood Python leader shook his head. An eternal true god ranked in the top 3 in Huyang City for alchemy, I estimated him to be quite the fat sheep. Unfortunately, it amounted to so little. If all else fails, I'll have to use my armor treasure as collateral, Blood Python leader thought inwardly. I must buy the lower part of the primordial iron blood sand technique as soon as possible. Otherwise, if I delay too long, I will be completely entangled by Sha Kingdom's forces and won't be able to save my own life. He was well aware of how dangerous the conflict between the 5 great families and Sha Kingdom's forces was. He had been involved because of inheritance, and only thought of gaining the inheritance quickly and then fleeing far away. The longer the delay, the more dangerous it became. I must gather 1 million cosmic sand as soon as possible. The eyes of Blood Python leader were ice cold. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Time passed slowly in the land of origin. The night came and the day followed. Various major powers within Huyang City all knew about Jiarong death, and had also heard that the murderer might be Blood Python leader Mu Yang. The bounty on Mu Yang at the Flame Wind Pavilion's Dark Hall had reached 160,000 cosmic sand. Some of my father's friends would want to offer a reward, but now that my father is dead, none of them would help. Jerong Chi, within the Moli family, had been checking the bounty. The bounty hadn't changed, and nobody completed the mission. Fourth in the bounty list is a Dark Force leader known as Chun Yui, with a bounty of 180,000 cosmic sand. For eons, he has lived well. Now Blood Python leader's bounty is 160,000 cosmic sand, ranking 5th. Who would kill him? Jerong Chi repeatedly looked at the bounty missions, hoping for some changes in the list. But the previous long night had brought no such changes. Jerong Chi only felt powerless. After her father's death, there was nothing much she could do. Miss, Supreme Lord Luo he has arrived at the Fire Realm restaurant, Suo Yun, who had been waiting at the Fire Realm restaurant, transmitted. Luo he. Jerong Chi's heart stirred. As soon as Supreme Lord Luo he arrived in Huyang, he didn't take the Blood Python Association seriously. He definitely wouldn't be afraid of Blood Python leader. Blood Python leader's notorious reputation made many forces wary. But clearly, Lord Luo he didn't care about that, which was also why Jerong Chi had immediately wanted to seek him as a mentor. Sigh. See a th/overfire.et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Jerong Chi immediately got up. Little Chi, Moli Feiyin had always been worried about her good friend. I must go out immediately, Jerong Chi said. It's not safe for you to go out now, Moli Feiyin said worriedly. It's daytime now, with true gods everywhere. It's quite safe. Besides, I must go out. Jerong Chi insisted. After thinking for a moment, Moli Feiyin said, I will arrange a guard unit to escort you, and you will take our Moli family's flying boat. Thanks. Jerong Chi expressed her gratitude and immediately rushed outside without further ado. Fire Realm Restaurant. Supreme, my young mistress has ordered that all of your expenses at the Fire Realm Restaurant will be borne by her, Suo Yun said with utmost respect. Luo Feng arrived accompanied by Marosa and Moyu Qingyang. Have you been here guarding since I left the Fire Realm Restaurant last time? Luo Feng looked at Suo Yun. Yes, it was the young mistress's order, the guard Suo Yun replied. Thank her for me, Luo Feng said as he headed inside. The owner of Fire Realm Restaurant, Black Butcher, also came forward enthusiastically to welcome them. Inside the small building, Luo Feng and Marosa enjoyed food and wine together, while the servant Moyu Qingyang could only wait outside the building, guarding it diligently. That young miss from the Jerong family seems quite eager to find a master, Marosa commented. Her father died last night, Luo Feng replied. Died? Marosa was surprised. I heard it from a friend, Luo Feng explained, as he had received visits from many powers and made some friends. Several eternal true gods, including Shong Qianyang, had informed him of this news. Luo Feng suddenly mentioned, among Shi Kingdom's covert forces within Huyang City, their leader is called Shui Yun, with a bounty of 1 million cosmic sand. Let's take him down. Marosa's eyes lit up. But we can't find him, Luo Feng thought. Do you have any way to find him? With Marosa's innate mastery of the great Tao of destruction origin, even without relying on the secret technique of willpower, such as the Lai Yuan technique, Luo Feng didn't think he could necessarily defeat Marosa. If he couldn't find Shui Yun, perhaps Marosa might have a chance. I've never met him, Marosa frowned. If I had seen him once, I might have some methods to locate him. What a pity, Luo Feng shook his head. If they could kill Shui Yun and take the spoils and the hefty bounty, just one would be worth a band of Dark Force leaders. It would probably be enough for his 3 attempts at body refinement. Too bad they couldn't find him. Master, a voice came from outside. It was Mo Yu Qingyan's. Jerong Chi is here to visit. She's here. Luo Feng looked at the spread before him at Fire Realm Feast. Let her in. Outside, Mo Yu Qingyang, who had been guarding seriously, stepped aside and said, "The master has allowed you to enter. This video will end here."